Do you read me?
Be advised, you are coming in weak and unreadable.
Say again, Com Tower. This is Pacho. Do you read me?
Pacho, this is Com Tower. I read you Lima Charlie.
Com Tower, Com Tower. Request permission to launch and commence the field op. Over.
Stand by. Pacho, permission granted. I say again, permission granted.
Roger that. Launching podcast in 3, 2. You are now entering the field op with your host, Pacho Correa, Chief Warrant Officer 3, United States Marine Corps retired. Get some. Hurrah! Get some. All right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another great show. Another week almost done. Baby Friday, Friday night's Eve. Goddamn. It's almost the weekend. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Field Op. If you just tuned in, we got an amazing show and with an amazing guest. I'm getting ready to bring him on here in a little bit, but let's get all the pleasantries out of the way. All right. So, hey, let me ask you this. If you were to die today, God forbid, how will your family survive? Or, do you have things already implemented to prevent them from having to sell the house, your funeral expensive? And I'll get to this whole veteran. I'm a veteran. I get shit paid by the VA. God damn it. Yeah, I'll get to that in just a second. But so would your family have to put on an ad on Facebook with a Venmo as well as a GoFundMe link just so they could raise a couple of bucks, and now they're going to have to sell the house, or they're going to have to struggle financially? And are your kids going to go to college? Oh, Pacho, well, my kids get benefits from the VA and the military. I'm at 0%. Okay, well, we'll get to that in just a second. But think about this. One, the VA, or the death benefits that the VA has are very limited and only so much, okay? And because dying is a business, folks. I mean, plain and simple. And as far as everything else, you want to have things implemented that will pay off the mortgage, ensure that your kids go to school. Yes, they may have 0%. You may have 0% disability, and they could go to, in your state, they may be able to go to school for free. But what how about for them to be able to, if you have to pay tuition, or maybe you have to, I'm sorry, not tuition, but how are they going to eat? You're going to have to provide them for food. Yeah, they can work, but wouldn't you want them to, if you really want them to go to school, wouldn't you want them to concentrate on school, get good grades and all that good stuff? And also ensure that they don't have to change their lifestyle so that they don't have, downgrade, maybe live in an apartment and whatever else now on top of the you being gone. So that's the whole purpose. So buy term, get a cheap term policy. It's affordable. Many folks have those, but don't have the other type of insurance that you don't get scammed by, this one has a investment benefit and all that other trash. Look, listen, whole life policies or trash value policies, IULs and all that stuff, they're not good products. So have someone implement it, put some strategies together so that way you can sleep good at night and make sure that your families, can do okay. Okay. The other thing too, let's talk about now putting in your claims and benefits with the VA. Get your benefits, folks. Don't be like a lot of them are fellow vets, and I'm sure my guest and I are going to talk about that, because a lot of times, I don't deserve it. I didn't deploy. I didn't go to combat. I was a pogue, and whatever nonsense and trash that you want, that you think that we put these crazy thoughts in our head that you don't deserve, because of the simple fact that, hey, I don't rate, so. Or I don't think I rate, and I'm not going to apply. Don't do that. All right. So why don't we do this? Put in for your claim. I can help you with that. It's very easy. I will teach you. How you doing? Somebody just posted Naum Garcia. What's going on, brother? So put a claim and benefit. What's the worst that can happen? You get 0%, which is still, in some states, your kids can go to school for free. But if it gets, if you get 10%, that's $175 extra in your pocket, and it just can keep going. So do it today. Don't delay. Let's get together and let's have that chat. And hell, I'll even help you with that money. Put it aside. Maybe that way you can start investing and doing other good stuff. All right. So, and look, listen, this show is all about We support, whether we agree politically, disagree, who gives a shit. That's the whole point of us having getting together, having talks like this. We can agree to disagree. You're here, you're there. It doesn't really matter. But that's the amazing thing about the Constitution. It gives us the rights not only to bear arms, freedom of speech, and everything else. We're here to talk, have conversations. So if you support the Constitution, you support this amazing country of ours, despite of what side you sit, and like, subscribe, and follow, and let everybody else know. And if you don't like it, you don't like this sexy ass accent, well, that's okay too. Check out someone from sitradio.com. Support your local podcaster. Gunny Deeds was on the show last time. So, and my guess is they get together. So I'm now kind of introducing my guest. I mean, this dude has an amazing story as well. Has helped a lot of freaking people. A fellow jarhead as well. This is gonna be a really good show. So stand by because there's some serious shit talking that's gonna friggin' happen here. You know what happens when you get two Marines together? You start saying those what we call stand stories. STAND, like shit. There I was, or shit, that ain't nothing, dog. I did XYZ, whatever the shit. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna talk to right now. Hey, so it might as well. You know what? Let's just get this shit going. Let's get this party started. Let's talk to David Willis. What's up, brother?
What's going on, buddy? How are you today?
Hoorah, get some.
Simplified, do or die.
All right, bark, bark, woof, woof, all that.
all that nonsense.
When I do when I start doing the whole like this is my country voice, so it gets all this voice that I use right here, it's my old man voice. That's my country voice. That's my alter ego, my Marine, my fucking jarhead voice.
Hey, as long as you don't break out the knife hand, we'll be all right.
No shit, dog. Oh my god. Hey, dog. Hey, so everybody, this is David Willis. He's a fellow jarhead, fellow Marine veteran, and the host of the HomeFront Sitrep. Brother, introduce yourself to everybody. Give them a background, all that good shit. What units you were with, all that good stuff that we do when we meet each other.
All right. Well, first off, I want to say thank you for having me on the build off. I can't wait. I can't wait to have you on HomeFront Sitrep. I think it's this Monday. I think coming up. Sunday or Monday, I forget which day. But anyway, my name is David Willis. I am from Bardstown, Kentucky, which is, if you know anything about Kentucky, it is the bourbon capital of the world. At one time, 90% of the world's bourbon was made in Bardstown, where I'm from. So every morning I'd wake up, drive past the distilleries, and smell that sour mash. So no wonder I love bourbon the way I do. Went to high school, graduated in 1997, and after graduating, I went into the Marine Corps. That's where I met my co-host Gunny Dees, who you had on last Thursday. Sam and I met on those yellow footprints June 4th, 1997, and we pretty much hit it off right then and there. So did boot camp Parris Island, first battalion at Parris Island. Got done with that, went to School of Infantry at Camp Geiger near Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. After that, we went straight to 2nd Battalion, 8th Marines Golf Company. I got put in 1st Platoon. I think Gunny was in 2nd or 3rd Platoon. I can't remember exactly which platoon he got put in. But we did that. And, our first deployment or first we went to Bridgeport. That's the first place we went, which if you know anything about Bridgeport, California, that cold weather training, let me tell you, it was not fun the first time.
Yeah, no shit.
And, so we did that. And then we did a deployment to Okinawa. We went to Haiti. And I could tell you some crazy, crazy stories about Haiti. Depends on how deep you want to get into it, right?
We can get deep like a thong in a fat chick, baby. Fucking in there.
So and then we went from there. We did a joint NATO exercise in Greece. Went to South Korea and all over pretty much. Got out in 2001, August 2001 after doing a med float. So I switched from 2nd Battalion 8th Marines in 2000, or the middle of 2000, because I wanted to go on a med float. Well, 2-8 was not going on a med float, so I did a lateral, went to 1-8 Bravo Company, and went on a med float with those guys. And I went to Tunisia, Africa, Rhoda, Spain, Brindisi in Toronto, Italy, Malta, all these places that this young boy from Kentucky never thought he would ever go see. Right? When I got back, did all my stuff to separate because I was a short timer when we got back. Turned in all my gear. When we were doing nothing on the weekends, we would take MAC flights and we'd go to Amsterdam. We would go to different places on these MAC flights. Luckily, we never got stuck at a place. Like, we never got bumped.
Lucky.
It was close. We got close to getting bumped a few times.
Yeah.
But we always made it back to base by Monday morning to for Monday morning formation. And then so I got out of August 1st. I was on terminal leave. I was back home. My EAS was September 1st. So got my DD-214 in the mail, honorable discharge. 11 days later, we all know what happened. 9/11 happened. I was at work. I was working for a plastic molding injection company in Barstown. Factory work. I hated it. I was on break and I was watching the TV, the news, and I called my mom. I was like, hey, I said, be ready for that Western Union. She goes, what do you mean be ready for a Western Union? I was like, yeah, you're going to get a Western Union telling me to report back to Camp Lejeune for combat refresher training. So sure enough, I got a telegraph Western Union, which the military, it's weird how the military still uses the telegraph, but they do. Western Union.
Weird.
It said, please report back to Camp Lejeune for combat refresher training. So got sent back to Lejeune with the report date. Had to make sure I had all my gear and stuff that I needed. And then of course they reissued gear once we got there, and they put us with a mobilization support battalion. Our acting first sergeant was a gunnery sergeant from Louisiana. Like, he was a reservist from Louisiana. And he was our acting first sergeant. And I deployed from there, did the things that they needed me to do, came back to Lejeune, and they put us in our, like, 2/8 old barracks and stuff like that, right? And we were working the armory, we were working supply, and when all these reserve units got activated or they came back, we would bring them in, take all their weapons, turn their gear in. Next unit would come in, we'd reissue it out and stuff like that, and did that until 2004. Got out in 2004, and that's kind of where that story ends with the Marine Corps. So yeah, where do you want to go from there?
No, and I'm very familiar. So when I ended up doing I&I duty a little bit after 9/11 and all those deployments, as a matter of fact, leading up to 9/11, was it 9/11 or right after that? Because I deployed, during the push and all that crazy shit. But yeah, we had Camp Talega, or we call it Land of the Hand because it's after Horno and Camp Pendleton. There's no chicks there, right? So, and back then there were no females allowed in the infantry, so we call it Land of the Hand. But literally, there was a hand statue at Talega because during the Vietnam War, they housed a lot of refugees in that area. And in that same camp, for those of you who've watched Heartbreak Ridge, that's where Heartbreak Ridge was filmed. So my buddy Jerry at the time, this is when I was still enlisted, he was one of the coordinators for that reserve mobilization unit. And because, RMU was here, and I was I&I staff, instructor, I don't know what the other I forgot. Inspector, instructor, I&I duty. I was part of that staff, and then we moved. But it was crazy that the influx of folks that, they were recalling fucking everybody, dude.
it was the first time the Marine Corps ever activated
Yeah,
the
yeah.
individual ready reserves. And I
In
know
50 years.
yeah, and I got a plaque or a parchment paper, probably about after I got out in 2004. I don't know how long before it came in, and it said, "Thank you for being blah blah blah." This was the first time the Marine Corps ever activated individual ready reserves.
Yeah.
Your name is now on a plank on Davy Jones's locker. It was super cool. I mean, it was. I'd have to dig it up. It's somewhere here in this
Yeah, I
house.
would love to see a photo of that.
It was super super cool, and I was like, man, that's to be part of something that's history. Because here's how you got to look at it. 9/11 happened, then everything else that went on for 20 years, right? To be part of that, because 30, 40, 50 years down the road, they're going to be talking about it in school, right? Because there's stuff that my kids, they talked about, in school and everything. And it's just like, oh, your dad's going to be part of history, 30, 40 years down the road. Your kids are going to be learning about the stuff that I did and my brothers and sisters did. So I think it's pretty neat.
Yeah, no, and just that whole time period. I mean, well, shit. I mean, people aren't even getting the Firewatch ribbon anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
that's it's just like when we came in, I barely missed the first Iraq war. I barely missed that. So I was dealing with all these lance corporals and NCOs that had like a big ass salad bar on their chest, and you're like, fuck, man, I want to be one of them guys. And then
right.
let me tell you. So those of you who are consider yourself post, I mean, let's get the kitty out of the bag. I mean, for those of you who consider yourself post because you haven't deployed shit or whatever else you thoughts you put in your head, careful what you fucking wish for. I'm just here to tell you, yeah, it's cool to, and we all think like, oh yeah, we see TV and blah 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 and fire. It's fucked up, dude. I mean, you think like, bro. So I'm gonna tell you a quick story because I don't want to, I want to get to the other things we want to talk about. So we were doing this. We were doing the workups, training the reservists, and we're getting ready because we're going to deploy the entire battalion, the reserve battalion, which is the first in 50 years. Anyways, and I was active duty, and I knew I was like, man, a lot of the nothing against you reservists, but you guys have a different mindset. You didn't play the games that we played on fucking active duty, but
right.
So they showed this video of it was a personnel carrier. I think it was Israeli or some shit like that. And they're like, hey, this is what a landmine can do. Dude, this thing goes over this landmine and the truck, it's the personnel carrier in the back, the filming. Bro, you see fucking bodies like confetti. Boof. And
Yeah.
I told to my counterpart on I duty was a staff sergeant because I was a sergeant back then. And I was like, watch how many motherfuckers are going to be UA tomorrow. Just watch. And sure shit, we held formation. Dude, we had like 10 of them UA. And out of those 10, I think 4 of them became deserters. That I ended up having to, go out there and get them and stuff. What is it called? They call them
chasers.
A chaser, yeah. Anyway, so that shit happened, dude. I mean, it's fucking crazy, dog.
Yeah, we had
careful what you wish for.
Yeah, so I was infantry, and we had several guys go UA. We had one, couple guys that lived in Puerto Rico, and a couple other guys, and they didn't think, hey, there's a naval base in Puerto Rico, so they went home to Puerto Rico, and all the Marine Corps did was, hey, called the Navy base, and they went out and scooped them up and brought them back home. Of course, it took them a little while to find them, but once they did find them, they shipped them to Rosie Roads, the base down there, Puerto Rico, and then put them on a boat, had them in the brig on the boat. As soon as they landed stateside, we went, picked them up, and brought them back to base. But yeah, it's crazy to see the mindset of people that don't want to go to war, then why did you join the military? Right? It just it never made sense to me that these guys, I say guys because of infantry, we didn't have females, right?
Right.
And I'm like, these guys joined up, signed up to be Marines, signed up to be infantry Marines,
Yeah.
and you're going UA because you might go to war, bro. It didn't make no sense to me. And I volunteered to be a chaser. I was like, sign me up. I'm ready. Let's rock. Let's go get these guys. I mean, we drove. I remember one guy lived in Texas, so we drove from Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. It was 4 of us in a big van. We drove from Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, to Odessa, Texas. If you know anything about Odessa, it's friggin' far out there. And had to bring them back. And we had to fight them to get them back. It was like one of those things. They didn't want to come back willingly. We had to fight them to get them to come back. Man, it was crazy. But I will tell you, I would do everything that I did back then, 20 plus years ago. I would do it all over again. Wouldn't change a thing, except for maybe I wouldn't marry that stripper.
No shit. Oh man, we don't want to go that route. Oh well, you know what? Fucking who knows? No,
yeah, my current wife brings it up all the time, and so do my kids. I'm like, bro, when I met her, she wasn't stripping. She was a cashier at Kroger. I was introduced from a friend. We started dating, and she's like, oh, I used to strip before I met you. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. We dated. Of course, infantry. We dated for a year and a half. In that year and a half, I was probably home maybe 4 months of that year and a half that we dated, right? So I was like, oh, let's get married. Big mistake.
Man, you are the stereotype Marine with that story. I mean, all you have to just say, I was a second lieutenant. I'm like, oh shit, let's go.
No. At that time, I was a Lance Corporal at that time. So
can't get any more Marine than that.
Lance Cooley. I didn't heed the Sergeant Major's warning. Don't marry a local. Yeah, don't marry a local stripper. That was, we heard that all the time.
Fuck you, Sergeant Major. You don't know shit.
Of course, the Sergeant Major was always the one that got the DUIs.
Yeah.
They kept getting swept underneath the rug.
Of course. Shit. Oh man, dude, I got a ninth com story, but we'll get to that one if we get to that one. So you got out, obviously you play the civilian game and everything else. So I guess moving time forward, how did you come about HomeFront, Operation HomeFront and all the things that you guys do and everything else?
All right. So after getting out in 2004, like most veterans, I lost that sense of purpose. I lost that sense of camaraderie.
Yeah.
I had to find something to do. Right. And I'm a piggy or touch on what you were talking about pre-show before, or when you came on and did your intro, right? I thought being a Marine, I was macho. Had that macho male bravado. Oh, nothing could damage me. Nothing could hurt me, right?
Right.
I got out of the Marine Corps, lost that sense of purpose, lost that sense of camaraderie. So I started volunteering at local veteran nonprofits. That was something where I could find my tribe, find a purpose. I did that for many years up until 2020, and I've met a lot of great people along the way. I served on a few boards of nonprofits, got burned by a couple of nonprofits because there were some good ones and there were some bad ones, which I'm not going to get into good ones and bad ones, but I got burned by a few of the nonprofits, but I still found that community within. So, we would take Mission Barbecue would donate food and we would take it to the homeless camps and give it to the veterans down there at the homeless camp. Or we would do with Operation Victory, we would go in, demo a house that they found for, either they got for free from the city or they bought it for a really, really cheap price because it was dilapidated. So we would go in, we would demo the house and then completely rebuild it and make it a sound structure and give it to a homeless veteran that was looking to get into, back on their feet. So they had to go through a program. Of course, you got to go through your 90-day program, get off the drugs, alcohol, and all of that.
Right.
And then if you were ready to be a homeowner, you would get into a list, and they would pick whoever got that house. We did 6 of those, and then COVID hit. So that was awesome. Doing that stuff. I worked for AT&T. I've worked for AT&T now for going on 14 years. Before that, I worked for another telecommunication company called Insight, now Time Warner, Charter, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
So I worked for them. So I always had medical insurance. My wife and everybody was taken care of and everything, right? I was one of the dumb ones, and I'm going to say dumb because I was like, oh, I don't need to go to the VA. I don't have no problems. So I didn't go set up VA stuff, my medical, anything through the VA. Now, 2022 rolls around. My PTSD is really, really bad. My hypervigilance is terrible. Like, I hate going to concerts because I feel like something's always going to happen.
Yeah.
My anxiety is through the roof. All this stuff is creeping up, and
you got to wear a fucking mask and stay at home, can't go anywhere, and blah blah blah.
Yeah, and I disassociated with friends and family. Like, we would be at a party of our friends, and these are all people that I trust with my life, and I would sit in a corner and feel like I wasn't there, because that's how things were going. And then my wife came to me one day, and she had been pushing for many years to get me to go to the VA, and I wouldn't do it. I was like, I'm fine. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm okay. Which is a big red flag. I've learned that if you go up to somebody and you say, hey, how are you doing? And they say, I'm okay. I'm living a dream. I'm hanging in there. Those are red flags. That's when you have to ask the next hard question. How are you really doing?
Right.
And then people are going to open up, because humans are more apt to talk to a complete stranger than the ones they love the most. So my wife didn't know all the stuff that I went through when I was in the Marine Corps, because I was keeping it from her, because I wanted to protect her from it. And I had that male bravado. What's up, Triple Threat? That's Mr. Ty Cobb, my brother. I had to get rid of that male bravado, that stigma that it's, people think, oh, it's not okay to ask for help. Well, I'm here to tell you, it is okay to ask for help. And there's plenty of people out there that are willing to help and go that extra mile. Whether it's me, whether it's Ty, whether it's Pacho, whoever, there are people, veterans that are out there that are willing to help and that want to do it for the right reason and not because they want to get big and famous. So in 2020, when I resigned from my last board that I was on, and there was several factors keying into why I resigned from the last board. But I will tell you, the founder did wind up going to prison for 6 months. So, but I'm not going to get into that. But that's one of the reasons why I resigned, right? I told everybody then, I was like, oh, I'm going to start a podcast. Never done a podcast in my life, but that's what I was telling people. I was going to do a podcast. So I bought the computer. I bought a camera. I bought everything that I needed for said podcast. Set it up down here in the bunker where I'm at now. And of course, I didn't have any of this stuff behind me. It was a blank concrete wall. Now, I did have the flag, but I didn't have it up yet. And I was like, man, we're going to do audio only. It'll be fine. So everything set down in the basement, probably for about 1.5 years, right? And my wife came up to me one day and she goes, listen, if you don't start doing something, we're getting a divorce. I was like, okay, I got you, loud and clear, licking chicken. So me and my co-host at the time, she was a Coast Guard veteran, MST survivor. I was like, all right, let's get this podcast started. We already had the Facebook page created 2 years prior. Already had a lot of people in there. I was like, all right, let's start this podcast. So we started researching what we wanted to focus on. And I was like, all right, what do we know? And I'm like, I know nonprofits. Let's highlight the mom and pop grassroots nonprofits in Washington State, Montana, Wyoming, Wisconsin, Maine, you name it, wherever they are, the mom and pops that people in Kentucky or people in California or Texas might not know about these other organizations out there that are doing great things, but we want to focus on the ones that still care about us as veterans, not and don't see us as a number. Because here's the problem: a lot of nonprofits out there, when you're not the small level, but medium level to large level, you look at veterans as numbers because that's where your funding is coming from. If you've got somebody that's funding you on how many veterans come into your organization and utilize the services that you offer, everybody's looking at you as a number. So I was like, let's focus on the mom and pop, the grassroots that still care about us as veterans. So what I did, I started reaching out to the local nonprofits that around here that I knew that still cared about us as veterans. I said, hey man, I'm starting this podcast. We want to focus on the nonprofits, the mom and pops. And they're like, oh man, let's do it. So we started this year, or not this year, this month, February coming up, will be our third year doing the podcast, right? And it took off really, really quickly, because if you look at all the other all the other veteran podcasters out there, nobody was talking about the nonprofits that are out there for us. They were, bringing in, your Kyle Carpenters and your Dakota Myers and your Jockos and your Sean Ryans, the veterans that have major high profile stories. They wasn't talking about the mom and pops out there that are trying to help veterans get through PTSD and stop the suicidal thoughts and all of that. And, dealing with the pressures of life in general. You come back from a war zone, you're broken. You're not the same person you were when you left. When you left your home at 18 years old or 17 years old, and you come back after doing 4, 6, 8, 10 years, whatever, you're not the same person. You deal with your issues that you have, right? So I was like, let's do that, and let's focus on the nonprofits. So we started out audio only. Man, like I said, it took off like wildfire. Then I met Rich LaMonica with Misfit Nation. He's like, hey, bro, I love what you're doing. I love everything about your show, but you need to do video. I was like, bro, I've never done video before. I don't know if I want to be in front of a camera. It's bad enough being behind the mic, but being in front of the camera, I was like, I don't know if I could do that. He goes, well, here, let's try it out. So we tried it out, and I loved it. I fell in love with it. I was like, all right, let's do that. And we've been doing it, like I said, 3 years. This February coming up. We've highlighted from the East Coast to the West Coast, from Canada to the Key West, and we're still going strong. And created the Tip of the Spear, which we had last night with like Triple Threat Vets, the Misfit Nation, Conversations with the Vet, I Am Pitts, the Decision Hour. There's 14, 15 different veteran podcasters within that organization, or that podcast, that get together and we talk about anything that's going on. Like last night's episode, we were talking about the stuff that's going on in Minneapolis. We were talking about, and we had Shannon Book, who's a Navy corpsman, retired Navy corpsman, come on. He's a singer. I don't want to say country music, but he's a singer. He come on and he was talking, and he just joined. He was in chat, and I said, "Hey, you want to join?" He's like, "Sure." So we brought him up, and it was just great. We laughed. We had a lot of laughs. But the good thing about it is, at the end of the day, we might have a difference in opinion, and we might get heated about, because we're passionate about our opinions. But at the end of the day, as soon as we click stopping it from going live, we're still friends. We're still hanging out. We're still talking. That's what it's all about. It's about building that community, because something I say on my show, together we heal, together we rise, and together we carry each other forward. And the key word there is together. So that's why I do what I do, man, is reach at one veteran a day, bro.
Yeah. And I think building, because like you said, we like to, well, isolate and like, well, I got this, or I'm okay. And by the way, when I'm good. That was my line.
Yeah.
I can feel my wife right now, like, oh, you just don't know.
Yeah.
I'm good. And the way I used to compare it, um, back then, and when I was going through intensive outpatient program and all the others, we wear a mask. We like to wear a mask, and we hide behind it.
Yep.
Very well. But when that mask starts getting heavy, that's when shit starts going sideways, and the ruminating thoughts, the ideations, and plan formulation, and whatever else.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate. I mean, and at the end of the day, it took me a long time to realize I'm not okay, and that's okay too. And when my family asks, "Hey, are you? What's going on?" Whatever, and it's okay to. I'm not burdening them with my load.
Yeah.
They want to be let in, and they want to carry that. Well, back then Alice pack.
Yeah.
They want to share that load with you. It's not that you're gonna, because we think that we're gonna be judged like, oh shit, this motherfucker's, he's crazy.
Yeah.
That's what we're afraid of. So,
I will tell you one thing that I'm really afraid of is the secondary PTSD that my children have from dealing with dad and his issues. And I'll tell you this because even now I still catch myself and I try to catch myself. But if they're doing something that I don't think they should be doing, I'm really quick. I'm really quick with anger, and I cuss a lot because I'm a Marine. I cuss a lot.
right.
And, prime example, getting up and going to church on a Sunday morning. I have to be there. Church is 11:15. I have to be there at 10:45 to get the seat that I want. If I'm not there by 10:45,
draw weapons from the armory and fucking formation,
Yeah, if I'm not there at 10:45, dude, I freak
stand
out.
by.
Yeah, I freak out, and so we got to church late one day, and our church is packed. Like every service at our church is packed. If you don't get there, and I have to have an in seat, I can't be in the middle. I have to have an in seat. So we get there, and church is starting in like 10 minutes. There's no in seats left. Like they're all full. There's a bunch of middle, and my wife's like, "Oh, we can just go over here and sit." And I'm like, "No, that's not our spot. That's not where we sit. Right? We have to sit over here. This is where I'm more comfortable with." And she goes, "Well, there's no seats there." I was like, "All right, I'll just stand at the back. I'll stand by the booth back here. My buddy does sound." I was like, "I'll just stand by JR. I'll stand up for the whole service, but I'll still be here." She goes, "Well, you don't want to sit with us?" I was like, "No, I don't want to sit with y'all because you're going to sit in the middle." But I was real anxious, and I didn't really pay attention because I was still focused, hyper focused on everything that was going on around me. Every time the door opened, there's two doors going in. Every time a door opened, I would look, and I'm like, this is not conducive for what I need to feel comfortable. It almost got to the point where I was like, all right, I'm going to the truck. But I knew if I had went to the truck, the wife would have been really upset and, happy wife, happy life. But secondary PTS is real. And people don't understand that if you have children, like my children, I didn't have when I was in the military. I had after the military. My wife that I'm married to, after military service. Now she dated me when I got recalled. Like we were dating, we broke up because I got recalled, and my plan was to do 20 years in the Army after the Marine Corps. I was going to go from Marine Corps into the Army, so 14 more years. So we broke up, but after coming back the second time, me and her got together, and the whole Army thing fell through, which I still don't understand why that fell through. Me and her been together ever since, and she's dealt with my anger, which I was raised, don't hit women, don't hit women, don't hit women. I went to jail for protecting women from some dumb Marines in North Carolina. But I will yell, I will cuss, I will berate because that's how I protect myself. So my wife, God bless her, she's a strong lady. She's put up with me for 23 years. And I will tell you, that PTSD that she and my children have because of me scares the death out of me. That they're going to raise their kids. Granted, my daughters didn't have the life that I had when I was growing up because I got beat with tobacco sticks and anything mom and her boyfriend at the time could think of, just because they didn't like what was going on. Of course, my mom was being abused at the time too. So, it just, my kids never had to deal with that. Like they've never, when they were young, daddy would take the hand and spank their bottom a couple times and say, you can't do that. And, hurt their feelings for about 30 seconds. And then they were fine. But when they got older, it never progressed to a belt. It never progressed to anything other than, hey, time for timeout or something of that nature. And my girls are amazing. They're 4.0 students. One's a freshman in college. One's a senior. Both girls are exceptional, very smart, and they're great humans. And I think I did a great job. Me and the wife have done a great job raising them. I'm just worried more about the anger and stuff that they had to deal with on my part. So,
it's, and man, that could be that could be a whole another show on that. But I think nowadays we're a little bit more, we're conscious, in my opinion, way too conscious about other things. And what is trauma and corporate punishment, whatever. But I mean, again, we can do a fucking show about that. I think bring ass whippings back. I mean, that's just my own opinion. But
there's a fine line between spanking and whipping, and then beating. Because I took my brother out. We were young. I was young. I don't remember how old I was. I took my mom had my younger brother, who was maybe 2, 3 at the time. His grandmother showed up. It was cold outside that day. As soon as she pulled up, I took Michael out with, and as soon as they left, boy, my mom grabbed the belt, 26 lickings with the belt. And then as soon as she got done, her boyfriend grabbed the belt and 26 more. I counted every friggin' one of them. And so there's a fine line, right? I agree that today's youth have no respect for parents, have no respect for authority. And I think that's a lot of what's wrong with the world today. There's no, our generation, we were raised to respect our elders. We were raised to respect, fire, police, EMS, teachers. Those are people, but we've lost that somewhere down the line. And I don't know where that generational divide is.
That's totally us. We fucked up. We fucked up because we're gonna make it better. Oh, let's all hand out participation medals.
No, we were talking about that last night on the Tip of the Spear too. Participation trophies and everybody gets to play and all of this.
Great.
Right. We didn't get that. We didn't get that treatment. Right. But I will tell you, my wife was the chairman of a local youth football league, right? And my daughter played. She was the only girl on the team. And the coaches were like, we can't play her. I was like, why can't you play her? Because she's a female? They're like, yeah, we're afraid she's going to get hurt. I was like, she's got every chance, just like that boy is, to get hurt. I was like, you can't play her because she's a female. I said, if she gets hurt, that's on us. That's, as parents, that's on us. If you tell me that I'm not playing her because she's not good enough, I would have been like, okay, I'll take her and get her more extra practices somewhere else. I'll pay for it to get her to where she needs to be to play. but you're telling me you're not playing her because she's a female? Nah, bro, that ain't right. And of course, a lot of the coaches play daddy ball. Daddy ball's got to go too. So,
well, and just I'll just leave with this final thought, because we're getting close to that time, but kids nowadays don't know the game. Like, it shows that nobody has ever played Smear the Queer or Dodgeball. I'm not saying those were the fucking names, everybody. So
Bull
if
in the
you're out
ring.
there getting your fucking pronouns and your panties all, that was the name.
Yes.
And it clearly shows that you didn't play that shit. And hearing that rubber ball when it struck your back, that doink.
Oh,
sound,
I can still hear it. I can hear
bro. I mean, it's like that was a rite of passage. You know what I'm saying? So,
yes.
but dude, where can people find you? We're definitely gonna come back, because between you and Deeds, the conversation has been fucking amazing. But where can people find you? Where can people get in touch with you that want to find out more about what you do and the things that you support?
Awesome. Yeah. So you can email me at homefrontsitrep@gmail.com. That's homefrontsitrep@gmail.com. We are live on Thursday nights, or not Thursday nights, tonight's Thursday, Sunday and Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. So 2 YouTube channels, heroesmediagroup.com and Homefront Sitrep podcast. We're also live on LinkedIn and 2 YouTube channels, and also TikTok. You can find us on there. So just go to Google and type in Homefront Sitrep podcast, and we pop up everywhere. But we are live on Sundays and Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern. And then our tip of the spear is the last Wednesday of the month, unless it's a holiday, and then we push it to the Wednesday before, but also at 7 p.m. Eastern as well.
That's awesome, brother. I really appreciate what you and Sam are doing. Let's and it's all about freaking community and
Yes, sir.
And just building that network, because like you and me have spoken. We tend to be our own worst enemies.
Yes.
Kind of like our own roadblocks or cock blockers, however you want to fucking see it.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about, bro. So, hey, look, thanks for your service, brother. I appreciate you. We're definitely going to have you back, because this is a bromance that's been fantastic and in the making, bro.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you again for having me on and allowing me to share a little bit of my story, because I know we kind of went a little bit everywhere.
Yeah,
and
man.
I don't think an hour or 45 minutes is long enough, but
no.
Yeah, thank you for everybody that comes in here. You guys are why we do what we do as a podcaster, is the comments that come
That's
through.
right.
That's why we do what we do. And I'm gonna leave you with one thing. You're not alone. Remember, though unseen, your struggles, I'm trying to remember how it goes, are not left unseen. Show up tomorrow, because somebody loves you. Somebody wants you to be there, and just reach out. That's all you have to do.
Boom. Thanks, brother. Appreciate you. All right. Hey, I mean, right there, I couldn't have said it better. So if you are ruminating, having those thoughts where you're digging yourself in that hole and you're not coming out of it or anything of the sort, reach out to me, reach out to the show. I'm pretty, you can find me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Also that's my personal page and the podcast page as well. I respond to and I answer, because a lot of you have reached out. So at the end of the day, let me be at least that last text or last conversation, so I can talk you off the ledge, put my foot in your ass, because at the end of the day, none of us here want to talk be saying a eulogy about how cool you were and how nice you were, when you're most likely an asshole when you're alive. So why not just, stick around and keep being an asshole with us? All right. But I'm just fucking with you. For reals. Hey, don't do it. We love you. Stick around. We'll see you here. So, hey, I think this is pretty good to index. What an amazing guest. We'll definitely have him back. So, with that being said, everybody. I think it's a good time to end it. So with that, Ice Tomas, Daisuke, I'll see you next week.